Hey folks, welcome back to another informational video with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're taking a look at these two expansion boxes for Massive Darkness from CMON Ltd. We're looking at the Noble Warriors versus the Cocatrix and the Warrior Priests versus the Spearmaiden Cyclops. So we're going to just show you basically what comes in these two different expansions so you can make the decision whether or not you want to buy them. And then we'll come back afterwards and talk about a couple of different things. We'll get down to the table. So here's what you get in the Noble Warriors versus the Cocatrix box set that comes as an expansion for Massive Darkness. First of all, you have the Cocatrix here, which is an interesting model. Not one that would exactly strike fear, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. Looks pretty menacing. You'll notice here that, just as we're going through, there is a pretty egregious mold line right there. So that's unfortunate. But other than that, one thing that can be easily fixed with a little bit of green mold, this is a pretty neat model as far as the feathers are concerned and the spines along its back. I don't know, I like the model a lot. Just not what I was expecting in a box of dungeon crawly type stuff. But I mean, hey, whatever. It looks cool, and it is probably going to pack a pretty big punch here. If we look at the two different kinds of versions that it has, first of all, it's going to be either rolling in melee. It's going to be rolling 2 yellow dice, or with ranged, you can roll 2 red and 1 yellow. Defense is going to be 1 blue and 1 green. Its special ability is defense. If it rolls a sunburst on defense and a diamond, the attacking hero loses the rest of his activation. Wow, that is not cool at all. The greater version, you're rolling for melee 2 yellow and 1 red, and then for ranged 3 red and 1 yellow. Then you're rolling 4 defense dice, 2 blue and 2 green. And of course, the special ability is the same as far as hit points are concerned. In a 5-player game, you're talking 15 hit points over here and 25 hit points for the greater version. So again, not to be messed with, really, not to be taken lightly at all. The artifact is the Noble's Standard, and so this artifact is pretty neat. It says attack +1, hit, and defense +1 shield on the hero and all allies in line of sight of the Noble Standard. So this is kind of like a rallying point. To keep people, look to the standard and push on, that type of thing. Also, it'll get +1 action to use command, an additional time per activation. So that's cool as well. You get, and whoever has this gets an extra action simply to use the command ability, an additional time per activation. That's really neat. I like that a lot. Now, the other models here, we have Mila, Zoe, and Azrael. Azrael here is a pretty good model, except, again, as I've said before, the static nature of this model, not a whole lot of movement. I'd prefer something a little bit with some movement into it, a little bit of an attacking stance or something to that effect. But again, I think the shield has good detail on it. The spear is a little bit of a warpy bend there, but that's something that can be fixed with a little bit of warm water. So no real egregious worries there, just but a lot of good detail. Azrael here has a shadow mode skill, defense sunburst. Attacker is -1 attack die. So that's cool. When he's being attacked, he makes people roll 1 less attack die. The special skill is the shield specialist. He's a shield bearer. He's equipped 2-handed weapons are considered one-handed. Wow, that's actually really cool. So that's neat. Zoe here is a really neat looking model. I like this a lot. She is armed to the teeth, and she has just armor all over. She's ready for battle. And this is just a great detailed model as well. So Zoe is ready to go. Now, her special shadow mode skill is attack may flip one of the defender's dice. So that's cool. You can go from a lot of hits to nothing. That's pretty neat. Special attack, bulky. Defense, if the attack deals no wounds, Zoe may heal 1 wound. So that's cool, which, you know, if you attack and you don't score any damage, that's kind of a bummer. In this case, there's the caveat that she is able to heal a wound if possible. Now, we talked about how well armored up Zoe was. Mila is the antithesis of that. Apparently, she thinks that one little piece of armor on her thigh is quite enough for the battle. Doesn't make sense. Looks like she's going to a day at the beach, not a battle. I do not understand why. People think that this is okay for fantasy realm settings. It just does not make sense at all. I mean, I guess since she's going to be cold, she has a fur that she can wrap herself up in. All right, great. Now, her skills here, Shadow Mode skill, Attack, Sunburst. Defender is -1 defense die. That's cool. Special attacks, special skill, Leg Swipe. That's why she has the armor on her thigh. Once per activation, she can roll 1 red die. If she rolls a Sunburst, inflict 1 wound to an enemy in the same zone. If she rolls a Diamond, inflict 1 wound and stun an enemy in the same zone. So great effects here, great abilities. Just wish a little bit more thought would have been put into the model itself. Now, the Noble Warrior here is the class that, of course, this box is bringing into the fray. The signature ability up here, target locked. Spend 1 experience points, choose an enemy in the line of sight. Heroes attacking this enemy get a +1 hit on their attacks until you use this signature again. So that's pretty cool. You can say basically attack that person over there and do your best. And then the commander ability here is command. Now, command means that basically you can spend an action to tell another hero, another actor, to perform an action that they want to attack, whether it's to move or to attack or whatever it might be. You can spend an action to do that. So that's a pretty cool thing as well. Down here, you have all of these level 1 skills, +1 max health, defense, sunburst, you get +1 shield, and the hero can heal 1. The protector, if an ally in the same zone would be wounded, you can take the wound instead. It's kind of the opposite of meat shield that we saw in one of the Blood Moon Assassins. Sword Specialist is a level 2, where if you have a sword equipped, it gets attack +1 hit and +1 sunburst. So that's pretty cool. Level 2 up here, Shadow Mode, attack +1 to all heroes in the same zone. That's really cool. Over here, level 3, we have Taunt and Defense +2. Taunt can basically, you can have people attack you if they would normally attack somebody else. If an ally of the same adjacent zone would be wounded, you may take the wounds instead. So that's a furthering of Protector, so that's really cool. Defense, furtherment here is if you get a Sunburst is +2 shields, and you can heal 1 wound. So again, the Noble Warrior is a really neat class, really cool. Let's get to the Warrior Priests and the Spearmaiden Cyclops. And what we have here are, of course, the 3 new actor heroes. You're going to get Malleus, Ostara, and Moria here. Malleus here is a pretty neat model. Again, just an action stance. Pretty static, but you can tell from his robes and such that he is in mid-stride, or maybe he just got through, knocking something out or what have you, and he's getting ready for the next attack to come. I don't know, but a lot of really good detail on this model. Probably a little bit more action would have been to my liking, but again, this is a great model, great stance altogether. His special ability, Shadow Mode skill, Attack Sunburst, gives you +1 diamond. So if you have other things on your skill sheets or other weapons that possibly use diamonds, that can help. Special skill, Scholar, acquiring class skills costs him 1 fewer experience. That is really cool. It means he's going to be leveling up a lot quicker, or a little bit quicker at least. Ostara over here is a pretty neat action stance. maybe a little static as well, but again, I don't really care either way too much. It's just preference really for the most part. But the model has a lot of good detail, a little bit of bending here in the sword, but again, that's easily taken care of with a little bit of hot water. And the shield looks good as well. So just a lot of good detail on this model. Looks really good. Ostara, her shadow mode skill is Defense Sunburst. If you roll one of those sunbursts in defense, you inflict 1 wound to the attacker. Really neat. Special skill, Tough Defense. So your defensive blanks results in +1 shield. So you're always going to be having some level of defense, not necessarily a lot, but you still have some defense. Moria here is a sorcerer, and again, this is just she's literally standing there. Literally standing there. Kind of like, hey, look at my staff, and look at the fire coming off of it. I don't know. Her special abilities here, Shadow Mode skill, attack may flip 1 green blank result to a positive. So that's neat. Well, it may not be positive for you, I mean, but you can flip the die is what it's doing. Special skill, Blood Magic. Once per activation, deal 1 wound to Moria or an ally. That doesn't sound very friendly. To roll 1 red attack die and deal wounds equal to the number of swords on to an enemy within range 0 to 2 and within line of sight of Moria. Okay, I don't know if I want Moria in my group, but you know, I mean that can be positive. That can be a good thing, but I guess you just have to use it sparingly. The artifact that's coming in this box is the Priest's Reliquary. The first time the hero would be wounded on each of his turns, prevent all wounds, and it also gives you +1 action. So that's a pretty neat artifact. Very cool there. Now, the elephant in the room, so to speak, is this massive miniature that's right here, and it looks like she's using a beam as a spear. But as you can see, this Spearmaiden is something, I mean, the model is very, very well done as far as details. I would argue a little too well done. There is just a lot of detail on this model. Yeah. Too much detail. So there you have it. And you have the Spearmaiden Cyclops card here. She's pretty nasty. Attack. Defender rolls no dice. So you do not get a defense against her unless some other thing happens that gives you defense. You simply cannot roll defense dice. So you ignore the Cyclops' equipment when it is attacking. So normally when monsters come out, they get an attachment to them, some type of equipment that's being carried. And if it would help what they do down here, then it would give them a boost to their attack. But the Spearmaiden ignores those positive abilities for her. She's rolling just 1 red die. But again, remember that you're not rolling any defense dice against it. She, however, is going to be rolling 2 blue and 1 green. On top of that, the greater side, this stays the same. So again, people are not being able to roll defensive dice. She's rolling 1 yellow and 1 red, and she gets 2 green and 2 blue for defense. On top of that, hit points are going to be in a 5-player game, 25 for the lesser and 40 for the greater roaming monster version of the Cyclops Spearmaiden. So not to be trifled with at all. The Warrior Priest class is what is taking center case here. We now can use Warrior Priest if you have this. The signature ability here is Healing Salve. Spend 1 experience points. The hero or 1 ally in the same or adjacent zone may heal 1. So that's pretty cool. Over here, Lightbringers. Again, this is for the Warrior Priest. Free class skill. all of the hero's shadow mode skills work in light zones instead of shadow zones. So that's kind of flipped. A lot of those light zones is where you're going to be running into monsters and that type of thing, and you have to actually retreat back to shadow zones. So the Lightbringers flip those things. So that's pretty neat. Here, level 1s, +1 health, max health that is, enhanced health. Down here, Purge, Attack, Starburst, +1 wound, and you can repeat that twice. Heal, or Healer, Attack, Sunburst, the hero or an ally in line of sight may heal 1. So these are kind of like, oh goodness, what were they called? The clerics. So that's basically what a warrior priest is anyway. It's a cleric, and he's bringing a lot of healing to the party that he's in. In shadow mode, all enemies in line of sight get attack -1 hit, so that's cool. Down here, attack the sunburst. The hero or one ally in line of sight may heal 1. You can repeat that twice. Also, attack diamond. The hero or ally in line of sight may heal 3. So that's really cool. So again, just a whole lot of healing effects, a lot of people that are going to be missing. You get extra shields, that type of stuff. So a great new class for Massive Darkness. All right, so that's that for the Warrior Priests, the Noble Warriors, the Cocatrix, and the Spearmaiden Cyclops. Now, as you can tell, the main reason this is called the Warrior Priest versus this and the Noble Warriors versus this is because that's the new class that comes in the expansion box. The models that are in it, there's one that is going to be a Warrior Priest or a Noble Warrior, but then the other ones can be, they can also be Noble Warriors and whatnot, but their recommended classes may be different. So hopefully you noticed the different annotations that were at the bottom on those lower thirds that I put in throughout the video so that you can further kind of understand that. Additionally, I did say in one of my previous videos that I was going to show you the different cards that come in the Massive Darkness replacement card pack, if one of the cards in the box was replaced. And in this case, Moira has a replacement card, and basically, as we were going through the video, her shadow skill says that you can flip 1 green blank result. Well, it's been changed to 1 blank yellow result. So there is that. Everything else seems to be exactly the same as far as that's concerned. No other differences, just so that, as you can see here, possibly one card like the one on the bottom has just a not printed as well as the top one. So there is a replacement card for this expansion in the replacement pack. So if you get this, you might also have to be getting the replacement card pack as well. So you do need to have that information. Otherwise, I think, you know, the models are exquisitely designed. I think one of them in the the Spearmaiden Cyclops, probably too much so. There could have been a butt flap or something to that effect added to that model. But again, I understand that that's just a personal thing for me, but you may feel the same way. So do take that under advisement. I think the Cocatrix was a cool model as well. I think all of the different things that come in these boxes are good for the game. Now, with that having been said, do you need to purchase this? I can't answer that for you. You have to make the determination on your own as far as that's concerned. I think it will give you more things to play with the game, but whether or not you need those is a decision that you have to make, which is why this isn't a review. This is simply an informational video showing you what you get so that you can then make that decision on your own. So that's it from me for these 2 box sets, expansions. We'll see you guys on the flip side.